Good evening and welcome to our broadcast of this year's San Angelo Go Red for Women. Because of the coronavirus outbreak, we're here tonight with a special televised event in place of our annual luncheon held every February.
Welcome to the American Heart Association 2021 Go Red for Women televised event.
This year's Go Red for Women Chair Mackenzie Hollick is here with us tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited for everything we have planned for this evening's lineup.
During the next half hour, you'll meet 3 survivors and hear important advice from San Angelo doctors about heart health. We'll also have a demonstration on life-saving CPR and visit with some San Angelo residents about why they support the American Heart Association. Go Red for Women started 17 years ago to help women learn about cardiovascular disease. It is now a global movement advancing science and health policies, addressing specific needs for women in research and healthcare, and also teaching women about heart disease. And Mackenzie, donors do play a key role in the future of Go Red. Tell us about that.
Well, we have various donation levels that you can see on the website, but any amount helps from $5 to $5,000. Tonight, we are asking that you open your hearts as you listen to these stories and be a part of the campaign by donating what you can.
And it is easy. Tonight, at any time, you can text San Angelo GR to 41444 to donate for our local fundraising efforts. We'll have real-life stories to share with you from Concho Valley women who've all received unexpected diagnoses. We'll start with Janice Bennett.
It started 9 years ago, and I had just gone to a regular doctor appointment and explained that I was having trouble breathing, you know, like when I would walk from the car to the grocery store. I'd get there and I would just be so tired that I'm hanging on my grocery basket, and, you know, by the time I got home, I was worn out, no energy. So my doctor said, Janice, you need a stress test. So I think we booked that the next day, and I was on there maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and my blood pressure shot up way too high, and we stopped it. And she said, Janice, we need to do a heart catheterization this afternoon. We got over there, and they did that heart catheterization and found out that my blockage was too much to fix it that way. So the next morning, that's when I met Dr. Felger, he did a 3-way bypass, and everything went fine. What was important, I think, especially, was that I did the cardio rehab. That helped me so very much. Through the rehab, I lost 30 pounds. They also do the nutritional education. So with those classes that you do, I changed my diet to a heart-healthy diet. All those years, I would make my every 6-month appointment with my cardiologist. I always had a sticky valve. Right at the beginning of last summer, she told me that it had become severe. I needed a heart valve replacement. Now that's called a TAVR. They go through your groin area, through the artery to your heart, and place the new valve replacement. And, you know, that really wasn't that bad, you know. I thank goodness they know how to do all those things. We're very fortunate to have such good heart doctors here in San Angelo. And anyway, they saved me several times. I knew from the beginning that I have a family history of heart disease. And so I encourage anybody who has any symptoms heart-wise to get to your doctor and tell them. Have a wonderful life, and it's due to getting all my problems fixed with the heart.
My name is Christy Ross, and I am a proud supporter of the American Heart Association. I think I started my journey with the Heart Association as a small child. I remember us participating in Jump Rope for Heart in elementary and later in junior high. As an adult in 2014, I began my journey with the Heart Association as a sponsor for the Circle of Red. In 2016, I actually chaired this event. I've made a commitment in my life to eating healthy and to exercising and to trailblazing and leading other women into eating healthy and exercising and living a happy, heart-healthy lifestyle. I appreciate you all being here today, and I hope that you'll join me in the commitment to eat healthy and exercise and to influence those around you to do the same.
Dr. Jason Felger, a heart surgeon at Shannon Medical Center. For the past couple of years, you all have used some new technology known as TAVR for some heart patients. Tell us about that.
TAVR is a new technique of replacing the aortic valve in someone's heart. And instead of doing it the standard fashion way where we do sternotomy or go through the chest, we actually do it transcutaneously, and that's what the T in TAVR stands for. It's transcutaneous aortic valve replacement. We've been doing that since May of 2019. The expansion that Shannon had 2 or 3 years ago has allowed us to basically make a hybrid lab in our operating room, which allows this new technology in the hybrid lab allows us to perform this procedure.
And what are the benefits to a patient? How do you make a decision about whether a patient is a good candidate for TAVR?
In the studies that have gone on in TAVR since basically its inception in 2004 in France and then really began in 2008 in the United States, we've gone from treating very high-risk people who cannot ever go for the open procedure to people that are now moderate risk, and now even low risk patients can go through the transcutaneous aortic valve replacement. The patients that are low risk, they all go through the same rigorous kind of studies that need to be done to make sure that they're a very good candidate for the TAVR, as well as talking to them about the longevity of the valve, that if we put it in the standard way through a sternotomy or through the transcutaneous way. We only have about 12 years experience with the newer valves, and we have about 25 to 28 years experience with the older valves where you put them in surgically. Both of them are heart operations, and so therefore there are still similar risks for both of them, but the recovery time for a transcutaneous aortic valve replacement is much less.
And does a patient play a role in making that decision about whether TAVR is used?
Yes, the patient and their family meet with the cardiologist as well as the cardiac surgeons in a team approach to decide what's the best procedure for the patient. They discuss the risk and benefits of both open procedure and the TAVR procedure, and we're able to decide which one is best for them.
We would like to give a special thanks to all of our sponsors.
Valerie Braswell is a woman who's learned just how important your family heart history can be. Here's her story.
For about 2 years, I'd been battling migraines and was trying to find the cause or, some relief from those. Really, medication wasn't helping them. I'd wake up with them in the mornings. That kind of turned into later some jaw pain. Saw a doctor and they thought, well, that was probably TMJ just from the stress of having the migraines. There's not a lot you can do about TMJ. We were, just kind of frustrated, not feeling good. I was actually getting ready that morning to go see my primary care. We got up and were getting ready, and I just didn't feel right. It wasn't like a pain in your chest or anything like that. It was just kind of like in the spring when you think you're gonna, I'm gonna go take a run real quick, and you run a little ways and you're like, I feel a little odd, and you kind of have to stop and gain your composure. But it just wouldn't go away. So I got ready, and Blake was going to take me, and we were like, maybe we should go to the emergency room. The doctor came in, he's like, well, I don't really know what this is. And so my primary came in, and then the cardiologist came in, and we were kind of just all, you don't look like a heart patient, you don't fit the criteria and everything like that, but we can't rule this out. They decided to go ahead and go in and do the angioplasty. They found that it was almost completely blocked, and they placed 3 stents, and
I am in cardiac rehab. We go in 3 times a week, and they put you on an EKG, and you're in a class, and you do exercises. And it's been good because there's some different things that weren't feeling right, and the blood pressure wasn't right, and they've been able to catch those things, be in communication with my doctor, and kind of gives you a confidence, because you're a little bit nervous to kind of go forward. And it's been really good there, because they're like, oh, that's normal. And I think that as a patient in anything you're in, knowing that your symptoms and everything are normal, that what you're going through is not abnormal. And so that's been really good in the rehab. You just kind of have to start learning how to live life, but maybe just a little differently. In any major situation like this, where you kind of just are faced with reality, we're not promised tomorrow. You appreciate what you have. You appreciate the people that you have in your life. You can focus on all the negativities, and it kind of affects you physically. And it's not saying that those problems or those things aren't there, but you just choose joy.
Hello everyone, my name is Brian Vincent, and I'm one of the partners at Principal LED. We've been a long-term supporter over 10 years of the American Heart Association. The association is really near and dear to my heart and heart disease. I've had a father-in-law who had quadruple bypass surgery at 41. I've had friends, employees, who have been impacted by heart disease and stroke. And I'd like to encourage you to consider donating either your time or your resources to the American Heart Association. The work that they do on education, early detection, and funding for advancement and understanding heart disease is really, really critical. And heart disease affects just about everybody. I mean, nothing probably saves more lives directly than the amount of work that the American Heart Association is doing. So please join me and support the American Heart Association, and thank you for your time.
Dr. Samia Benzlemain is a cardiologist at Shannon, and we're talking about the importance of having some kind of a marker for your heart health.
That's correct. So it's helpful. It's helpful to notice the onset of symptoms. So if you've got even a modest exercise routine, it could just be going for a 10-minute walk once a day, could be a 20-minute walk once a day, or of course things that get a little bit more intense, exercise class and whatnot. It's helpful to notice the onset of symptoms. So you might notice that your 10-minute walk now takes 15 or 20 minutes. You might have to stop and rest halfway, or you might notice some worsening shortness of breath or chest discomfort. It's nice to already be active, to notice when there's a change in your activity level or symptoms during your activity.
And that can even include something like gardening or washing the dishes or anything, whether you're active or not.
Absolutely. It's important to be active, which improves your functional status, burns calories, keeps you moving. They're not all necessarily cardioprotective, so they're not really cardio activities. For that, you really want to do something that gets your heart rate up. Doesn't have to be running, but it can be walking, bicycle, swimming. You can be stationary and do weights that kind of get your heart rate up using your upper body. So cardioprotective activities, you really have to try to get that heart rate up. But all activity is considered good activity.
If you notice something, what about a stress test? How can that help?
Absolutely. And a lot of people are afraid to come in. They're afraid to get that stress test. They think we're grading them and that we're going to show them how much not in shape they are. But that's not the case. Our stress test, the purpose of them is to reproduce your activity level at home when you tend to get your symptoms and capture it with an EKG in the moment and possibly imaging as well. So we're not trying to push you to an 8-minute mile. We're not trying to do that. We're just trying to reproduce your exertional symptoms with an EKG and with imaging.
And what that can do is let doctors know whether or not something needs to be done, correct?
Absolutely. You can clue us into early heart disease. And I want to also add that some stress tests are not activity related. If you've got hip or knee issues and can't walk on a treadmill, balance issues, wheelchair bound, there are other ways to do stress tests, still get the answers we need about the state of your heart without having to put you on a treadmill.
All right, and then some places, in some situations, stents can help.
Absolutely. So following an abnormal stress test, you'll discuss it with your doctor and see if a cardiac catheterization or angiogram is right for you. And that's where we go in to look at the arteries directly. And sometimes that can lead to the knowledge that we now have blockages, and those can at times be fixed with the stent, other times with bypass surgery, other times with medications. But an angiogram would follow traditionally an abnormal stress test, if indicated.
I'm with Mackenzie Hollick, who is the chairman for this year's San Angelo Go Red for Women. Mackenzie, tell us about your involvement with the American Heart Association.
I am honored to be this year's chair for Go Red San Angelo and to represent the American Heart Association's mission for advocating for heart health. Unfortunately, heart disease has been prevalent in my family. All 4 of my grandparents suffered from heart health issues, and when I was 16, my father had his first heart attack. He wasn't even 50 years old and underwent a double bypass surgery, and I remember that visual in the ICU at Shannon Hospital. And in that moment, I learned so much about heart health and the importance of taking care of our hearts throughout our entire lives. So when I turned 30, I underwent my first stress test to start monitoring my own heart and its progression as my genetics would recommend. It's so important to me to advocate for women and men the importance of listening to our bodies, monitoring our hearts, and maintaining a healthy lifestyle, both for ourselves and our families. So I love the opportunity that Go Red San Angelo has given to me to be an advocate for this exact cause.
And we want you all to know that as of this moment this evening, you've donated more than $15,000 for this year's San Angelo Go Red for Women.
That's amazing. Thank you all so much. We still have some more work to do to meet our goal, so please donate if you can.
And it's very easy to donate. Just text San Angelo GR to 41444. That's San Angelo GR to the number 41444. And while you're doing that, we'll hear about Sue Taylor's story. She says she knew when to stop and listen to what her body was telling her.
One summer afternoon, my husband and I decided to go to the movies, and we were enjoying a lovely summer afternoon, relaxing. And I began to have a little problem breathing, and that was something that was unusual. So after the movie, I said to my husband, I'm not feeling so well. I think we should go to the urgent care. So we did. And after a series of tests, they sent me to the ER. There was no blockage or heart disease, so that part I thought was good. Echocardiogram showed something a little different. The diagnosis was indeed heart failure and with AFib, and I went home wearing something called a life vest, which is worn 23 hours a day, taking it off an hour for showering and things, just to be safe, because it's a built-in defibrillator because of the AFib. I never felt anything. I never felt my heart racing, but we wore it for 3 months, along with taking some medications that the doctors had recommended. Our hope was that the medication would take care of it, and oftentimes it does. That was not my case. They wanted to implant something, it's called an ICD, which is an individual cardiac defibrillator. It's just like a pacemaker. It's inserted during surgery, and all went fine. I've been wearing it now for a little over a year, well, probably almost a year and a half. And when I had my last echocardiogram, my heart rate is back to normal. The plan forward is that the ICD has a battery that lasts about 5 years. I've had no issue with it. There is a monitor that sits by my bed. About 2 or 3 o'clock every morning, it does a little reading. The doctor is able to determine if there's an issue or not. Again, because it's been so successful, I've been told I don't have to come back now for a year. First it was 3, then it was 6, and now it's a year. I guess I'm very happy that I'm able to share this, because if I had not gone on to the ER or even to the urgent care, I might not be sitting here today. So I'm so thankful there are medications and technologies that now today ensure that I've got a lot longer to live. You know, most people are aware of their bodies, what, makes you feel good or what makes you feel, poorly. I would say to anyone, if there's anything out of the normal, like I had never experienced any breathing issues, the best answer to any of the questions would be see your doctor. Make an appointment, keep your visits, because life is pretty grand.
Hi, I'm Caroline Rhodes. I am a supporter and donor to the American Heart Association and a member of Circle of Red. I am very proud of being part of this organization. Over the last 6 years, I've become a lot more involved. I really appreciate everything that the Heart Association offers in terms of educating the community about the importance of heart health. And it's something that I really appreciate in my profession as well. We use guidance from the American Heart Association when we are educating our patients about how their heart health is impacted by and plays into their oral health. On a personal level, I, like so many other people, have had family members who are impacted by heart disease. So that's just another reason why supporting the Heart Association is so near and dear to my heart, and I encourage you all to participate and become supporters or members of Circle of Red and the American Heart Association.
Dr. Kirsten Akarambaya is a Shannon cardiologist, and we're talking about women's heart health. First question, what about symptoms that women should be aware of that might indicate something more serious?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, because in women, one of the most common things we see is their symptoms are very atypical. When we think about heart disease, everybody thinks of this elephant sitting on the chest or a ton of bricks on the chest. But in women, symptoms can be different. Some women can just present with tiredness, just progressive tiredness over 6 months, or sudden onset tiredness over 1 or 2 weeks. And of course, we have the classical symptoms of chest tightness, chest pain, chest pressure, trouble breathing, so shortness of breath, feeling more and more short of breath, that's progressive and that's not letting up, nausea, unexplained severe sweating. So these are all can be signs of heart problems.
Which could be signs of something else too. Yes. And often women are afraid or think it's really nothing, I don't need to do anything about it.
Yes, that's right. So we see statistics have shown that women are less aware of their heart health because they think it's not going to happen to them. And in fact, 1 in 5 women believe that cancer is the top cause of death in women, whereas heart disease is the top cause of death in women. So we brush it off saying, oh, maybe it's just tired, maybe I've been working too much, or I haven't gotten enough sleep. So we tend to ignore our symptoms and blame it on something else. So it's important for women to be aware of these symptoms, the classical symptoms and the not so common symptoms also.
Put those together and then make a decision about whether to do something about it. Are there some simple ways to prevent heart problems?
Yes, of course. So prevention also talks about, when you think about prevention, you have to remember what's your risk of having heart disease. So what's your personal risk? What's your family risk? So in people that have higher risk that comes in, generational, my grandparents had health issues, my parents had health issues, siblings have had health issues or heart problems. So in those individuals, we have to be a little more careful, a little more aggressive in being in preventing heart disease. But across the board, activity, our diet, and cutting out some of the bad habits that we have. I think those are the three key issues that we need to address in terms of prevention. One of the key goals or the key preventive measures I discuss with people is we have to be active. We have to be active. So staying active keeps our heart healthy, and 30 minutes every day, 5 days a week, so about a cumulative 150 minutes of exercise, and try to eat healthy, heart-healthy diet. Is we classically talk about cutting out saturated fats, processed sugar. So the easy way to think about that, a practical way to think about that would be anything fresh and anything that's home cooked, something that does not come out of a box and does not come out of a can. And of course, don't smoke. Don't start smoking if you have not started. If you have, please quit smoking. And very moderate alcohol use, or if you can avoid alcohol, that's good.
Doctor, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mason Matthews with the San Angelo Fire Department. We're going to talk about hands-only CPR. CPR is performed on patients that experience a sudden cardiac arrest event. Every time someone does experience one of these sudden cardiac arrest events and CPR is not performed, a patient's chance of survival decreases by about 10%. If you do perform good quality CPR on these patients, the chance of survival can increase by double or even triple. So, if someone around us does go unconscious because of a sudden cardiac arrest event, we want to remember two things. The first thing is we want to call 911. Whether that's you or you instruct someone to do that, get 911 on the phone and get them coming. The second thing you want to do is perform hands-only CPR. You perform hands-only CPR by taking your hands, putting them right in the middle of the patient's chest, and pushing hard and fast on the center of the chest. And you're going to do this and press at a rate of 100 to 120 beats per minute. And you're not going to stop until EMS arrives. If you want to know more about hands-only CPR, or if you would like to go even further and get a certification in CPR, you can contact American Heart Association or visit their website.
Reliant is this year's infant CPR sponsor, and they, along with the San Angelo Area Foundation, also donated the funding for 350 infant CPR kits. The American Heart Association now working with larger companies here in San Angelo to get their employees CPR certified. 70% of all out-of-hospital cardiac arrests happen at home. If you're called on to perform hands-only CPR, you'll likely be trying to save the life of somebody you know. Hands-only CPR has been shown to be as effective as CPR with breaths in the first few minutes during an out-of-hospital sudden cardiac arrest for an adult victim. It's something everybody can learn. You can find out more at cpr.heart.org for more information. Now, Mackenzie, let us know how the funding people are donating tonight is helping the American Heart Association.
Absolutely. So funds that we get through Go Red go directly to research, and we work closely with EMS workers to make sure that they are up to date on all CPR trainings. We also work with the San Angelo Cardio-Vascular Center on hypertension programs and managing blood pressure. In 2020, San Angelo helped the association raise $2.5 million for COVID research.
Experts say that 90% of all women have at least one risk factor for heart disease. It claims the life of 1 in every 3 women, 1 woman every minute. In San Angelo, close to 1/3 of all adults are living with high blood pressure. More than half have high cholesterol. Close to 2,000 women across the Concho Valley and West Texas, now part of Go Red for Women and actively taking steps to improve their health. Tonight, we have shared a lot of stories and critical information about how you can be heart healthy. All you have to do is take the very first step. And again, we want to thank all of our sponsors this evening. Shannon Medical Center, this year's Go Red title sponsor. Additional sponsors are Reliant, Time Clock Plus, Mitchell Automotive, Principal LED, West Central Wireless, First Financial Bank, and of course, Randall Motors.
Yes, and I also would like to thank my other executive leadership team members, Lindy Stone, Jennifer Boyd, and Brooke Dickinson, who helped put everything together. And thank you to our tribute sponsors, Brian and Patty May. There is a program that I'm a part of called the Circle of Red. And at this time, I would like to give a special thank you to Dr. Caroline Rhodes, who chaired the program this year, and we want to say thank you to this amazing group. We really appreciate all of your support, and if you're interested in more information on that or about anything with the American Heart Association, you can contact Ashley Quintana at ashley.quintana@heart.org. Thank you all.
And we want to remind everybody that you can still donate. It's not over yet. All you have to do is text San Angelo GR 4144, and you can do it throughout the evening. And we want to let you all know that so far this evening, you've donated a total of $35,000.
Thank you all so much.
Mackenzie, thank you. We've really enjoyed helping, and we want to thank everybody again for all of their support for the American Heart Association. Go Red for Women.